Our next national executive director joined BeautiControl in April of 2007 and became a director in September of 2008. Not only has she earned every trip, she has also earned the Mustang, the Lexus, $30,000 in Wow Cash, and the Chairman's Summit. Her favorite accomplishment since joining the business has been to help others learn how to dream again. One of her best memories was when she represented BeautiControl at Tupperware's Chairman's Summit in South Africa last year. One thing you may not know about the next speaker who's coming out is she speaks Turkish. So I will have a translator coming out for her in a little bit. Please welcome to the stage from Las Vegas, Nevada, National Executive Director, Michelle Jones. And Michelle, to help translate, we've asked Brian to come out because Michelle's going to deliver this in Turkish. Michelle.
Okay. So, merhaba, nasılsın? İyiyim, teşekkür ederim.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Okay, jokingly, we're not going to do that whole speech in Turkish because that would take longer. We are so excited to be up here and be able to share our story. And, you know, my hope is that it touches your heart a little bit. It makes you maybe look at your circumstances or the new people we've not even met yet. I really think that's what our story is about, is the people that we're going to meet once we leave here, the people we're going to meet at our spas, the people that we're going to meet, you know, on the airplane when we're flying home. So here we go. BeautiControl started for me because of Brian. A friend of his wife had called Brian and said, there is a party tonight and we need one more guest. And so I was invited. So imagine that. I'm only standing up here because someone that didn't even know me invited me to their home party. I mean, that's amazing to think that. So have that strength and confidence when you're hostess coaching your hostesses to give her a goal of how many people should be at that spa. That's the only reason I was invited. At the moment when I found BeautiControl, I was 35 years old. I'd never been to a home party. I'd never had a home party. And I only ended up at one because a total stranger invited me. At that spa, here's what I remember, is I felt so amazing. I felt so relaxed. I'd never experienced a lot of those treatments. And, you know, as spa girls, especially our newer members out there, you get so caught up on the words, the perfect words to say. Don't. Just get in front of humans, get in front of people, and share those amazing treatments, and let them do their magic. Because I don't remember anything that was said that night. I just remember how great I felt. As many of you, I literally signed up because the incredible value and the amazing products. A lot of us come in that way because we don't know the bigger picture. At that time, when I was sitting at that spa, I had a job that was not good for a family. I worked in retail. You know, I worked over 60 hours a week. And if you're not a person that's ever worked those kind of hours, that's really like 9 to 9, day after day after day. I worked in malls. I wasn't changing people's lives. I wasn't helping anyone. And I really needed some time freedom. So there may be people out there that you know that you look at and financially they appear okay. That's where I was. If you looked at me financially, I appeared okay. I had a nice home, I had nice cars, but my heart was so empty because all I did was work. I wasn't a great friend. I wasn't, a great spouse because all I did was work. When I went to Beauty U, which for me is a must, when we bring people into our company, it's not an option. They've got to go to that class. When I went to Beauty U, we were asked a question. If time and money were not an issue, what is something you would do? And this is a great question to ask anyone, even outside of Beauty U. And most people's first response is going to be something like this: I don't know. because we quit dreaming. Think about when you were little kids, right? We wanted to change the world. We had so many great dreams. I mean, there were so many things I wanted to do. But something happens between that time of being a little kid, getting through high school, getting out there, going to college, trying to figure it out, that we kind of forget how to dream. Well, here's what I finally came up with is I wrote down I wanted to be able to help my grandma. We'd recently lost my grandpa, and my grandma couldn't afford to stay in her home. And, you know, here's this beautiful woman that was such an influence in our life, and she couldn't afford to stay in her home, and she was going to have to move into an apartment for the first time in her life. And that's what I was going through in my life, and I wrote down, I want to help my grandma. Well, started doing BeautiControl, started making some extra money alongside of what I was doing. That crazy work week, right? Doing BeautiControl alongside of what I was already doing. That's what our business is about, alongside of what people are already doing. Well, the money started coming in. It gave me some options. Very quickly, guys, if you will do 2 to 3 spas a week, your financial position is going to change very quickly. So here's what it allowed me to do. It actually allowed me, BeautiControl, because of BeautiControl, to buy this cutest little adorable home and let my grandma move in it so my grandma didn't have to move into an apartment. Doing something alongside of a career. So let's move a little forward. At that time, Brian and I were dating. We weren't married at that time. Brian started seeing the success that I was having, and Brian was a police officer when we were dating and I started BeautiControl. So your story is going to become bigger than just about you. It's going to become about your family, about your children, about your spouses. So Brian was a police officer for 17 years. It is a job that we need in our world. We need people that want to be police officers, but it's not a job that you want anyone you love doing. I mean, really? He was involved in shootings. He would go to work, right? And that's the danger, is he's going to come home. Think about when we say we're afraid to ask someone if they've heard of BeautiControl, or we're afraid to ask someone if they'll have a spa for us, and there are people out there that really should, right? If you're a fireman, maybe you should be afraid. If you're a police officer, maybe you should be afraid. So don't ever say that to yourself again. Don't say, I'm afraid to do it, because it's just using your words. And as women, we know how to talk, right? Don't we say 5 times more the amount of words than guys do? So because of BeautiControl and how it changed my finances, it changed our finances, we got married, and it allowed Brian to walk away from 17 years of being a police officer. He's now in our industry and does amazing in our industry. So he's going to spend the last few minutes sharing how to tell a shorter version of your story, because you all have a story and it needs to be told as to what was in your heart and why you're here this weekend.
Hello, BeautiControl. I haven't told you today, but boy, you're hot. You're a good-looking woman.
Thank you, thank you.
What makes you even more beautiful is that car in the background that's going to be in our driveway soon.
I know it is.
I think, stand closer to me. BeautiControl saved my life. She said, you know, it was really on accident the spa happened. You'd never been prospected. That never happened before. Mm-hmm. And just because somebody said, hey, we're not going to have the spa if Michelle doesn't show up, and you didn't know any of these. You were a complete stranger, mm-hmm. new to Memphis, and if it wasn't for BeautiControl, I would probably still be a police officer, and I don't know, maybe my time would have been up. So I really can say that BeautiControl saved my life. Why you have me teaching when you're the #1 national director is crazy, but I love you. Telling your story is important, because don't we all want to be part of somebody's story? I mean, don't we associate with Michelle's story? We all have a story like that, and it's key, because it's funny when new people come up and you're having them share their story. The first time they talk, they share about 6 seconds. Then the second time you have them up there, they're for like 60 minutes. So it's important that we got to tell our story in 90 seconds or less, because you want people to associate with you. You want them to enlist in your story, become part of your story. And it's very simple. You always want to say your name, so Brian Cook, my level, married to a national, that's my level. I have never done a spa, I'm just telling you right now. I do go to the gym if Simon's here, so I do, and that happens. And I am a better golfer. But you want to tell your story, you say your name, your level, Brian Cook, married to a national. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, and here's where my life was before BeautiControl as a police officer. I didn't like my job. I didn't really like my life. I didn't like my city. I didn't like much, right? But because of BeautiControl, it taught me a better way to live. Don't you guys live better now that you have BeautiControl? I mean, really, I'm 90. I mean, that skincare is good. But I'll go over this again because it's important how you tell your story. So Brian Cook, Las Vegas, Nevada, because they either know somebody that probably is named Brian, they might know somebody last name Cook, they might know somebody in Nevada or Las Vegas. People want to be like you, and they want to be part of your story, so you always got to share that, what your life was like before BeautiControl, what BeautiControl has changed for you. I mean, we were in South Africa last year. Do you get that? I mean, that's a little bit of a change. We drive the cars we want to drive, we live the house we want to live in. And because of BeautiControl, we're changing lives, we're empowering humans, we're helping people live their dreams to the way they want to. And as Michelle said, when we were 12, we had these thoughts of grandeur of the white picket fence, the dogs, the 2 kids, the cars, right? And then something happens. And our dreams go away, right? So now, because of BeautiControl, telling your story, creating a story, everybody in here is creating a story. I mean, how cool is it that we have 18-year-olds creating their story with BeautiControl? Where else does that happen? So make sure you're very good at sharing your story in 90 seconds or less, and practice it. Get in front of the mirror and tell your story over and over and over again. You should tell your story the same way so many times that your team knows your story, because as the beautiful lady just said before, she borrowed a story. So give your story to your team so they can borrow it and use it until they create their own BeautiControl story. So thanks for having me up here.
So I just want to end with this. I remember my first conference, and you know, Brian wasn't there at that conference. Brian didn't understand the business. You know, he wasn't against it, but you also didn't support it. You just didn't know. So you're going to be around people that just don't know about it. Look for all of the greatness in your spas. Look for all of the greatness in your team members. That's what's going to help your business explode. And if you have people around you that don't understand direct sales, that don't understand our industry, when you share the greatness, when you say you were at this amazing conference and you learned this, or you're using this incredible product and you know it changed this about it, that's what we're doing, is we're looking for the greatness. Now, when I went to my first conference and I sat out there, I thought, I'm different. There's no way I could ever be up on stage like that. And the reason I thought I was different is because I had a little hole in my heart, because I wasn't living the life we all deserve. If you're sitting out there and you touch your heart and it just feels like something's missing, if you lay down in bed at night and you're not completely thrilled and completely happy, which I wasn't before BeautiControl, I know a lot of you, especially women, we live that way. Use this as the opportunity, the vehicle that you can get your financial freedom or your time freedom. I love you guys. I'm so proud to be in this room with you, and I can't wait to be at the Hard Rock with all of you guys. Thanks.